So I don't understand why some of y'all cannot say no. Some of y'all cannot say no at work. There's a difference between being helpful, there's a difference between being used, and there's a difference between just doing your job and going home. I fall in the category of just doing my job and going home. Have I been the type of person where if management asks me to stay for an hour to help out with a certain project, or maybe we fell behind on something and can you spare a couple more minutes? Have I done it? Yes, I've done it plenty of times. But I also learn when to do it, how to do it, and the people that you're willing to do it for. Now, when I say when to do it, if I have enough time and it's not going to take a lot of time, then yeah, how to do it is it benefiting your wallet? You know, if I know my how is, well, maybe I can get something out of the company or this person, and not in a negative way, meaning like you scratch my back, I scratch yours. And then there's just saying no because you're being taken advantage of. I have been the type for a very long time to just give you a look like, no, I got things to do. I got things to do. I can't stay longer. And I know you're going to cut my hours later on during the week. So, what is this benefiting me? Now, I've seen people, and we all been guilty of this. When you're just starting a job or you're young and this is your first job, you want to prove yourself to the company. You're excited because you have a job for the first time. And so you think of it as if I bust my butt, management will see that and I'll be in their good graces. Sometimes, mainly a lot of times, it doesn't work that way. Now, the art of saying no is knowing your worth. If you have something to do, then why would you stay after to help the company out if it's not going to benefit you and you have something you have to do outside of your job that is more important? Because you already gave them your 8 hours. You already gave them your, your 6 or your 4 hours if you're part time. And you have things to do. Even if you don't have anything to do, that's something to do. And I've learned behind the scenes, I've learned being that person that got pretty much screwed over for staying later or doing someone else's job and not getting the acknowledgement that I did it. You know, there was one time that we worked real hard at work, my team, and we had this big reset to do. And we stopped doing that big reset because corporate was coming. And so that we were supposed to team up with the department that corporate was going to pretty much look over and come in and see if that department was doing what it was supposed to do. we stopped what we were doing and we went over there and we knocked out everything. We knocked out, I mean, I believe uh we were in the garden department and we were busting our tails. And the reason why I didn't say no, well, we kind of said no, but we knew we still had to do it. But the difference was we were on the clock and it was our time. It was in between our time where, that we were scheduled. But once it got closer and closer to my clock out time, my manager looked at me and was like, "Hey, we didn't finish this and corporate is coming in a couple days. And we got to get this knocked out because I had this plan for us today, and then now we had to do this, but we have to have this part done before tomorrow because we got a lot to do tomorrow." I was like, "Okay, we'll do it tomorrow." And by this time, I was a seasoned no employee. They already knew that, number one, I have major responsibilities to do after work, and it couldn't be compromised. Dealt with family, and when it deals with family, I say no quick. So, number one, we didn't get any help from that department, and we were doing most of the work. We were doing most of the work. So that was already a failure in itself. We were doing what we were doing, stop what we were doing to go help another department that none of the employees came over to help. And then again, if I can remember, there wasn't enough to help anyway because low staff. So told them no. Come in the next day. We had to bust our tail. Did I care? It sucked that I had to do a little bit more work than what I wanted to, but when I say no, it's no. I can't do it. So then when we do get this task done, this is the funniest part. And this is why I say no. Because after we were done, we didn't get acknowledged for it. And matter of fact, when corporate came for this event, because we didn't even know it was a big event, they told us to go on the other side of the building and not be seen. And I've never heard that before at this time. I've been in situations, where corporate have come, and the funniest thing ever, we had a meeting, and in that meeting, it was a morning meeting. In that morning meeting, we were all in the huddle, and at the end of that meeting, our store manager was like, "Hey, corporate's coming, as you guys know, and we're gonna have all of this food laid out in the training room for our visitors, which is corporate, and they're catering and whatnot. And after it's all done, you guys can go in there and take whatever's left." And I had like this smile on my face, not because I was like, "Yes, I get to eat the scraps. I can't wait." It was a smile on my face, like, look, like they really treat us like we just some dogs and cats on the street, like an alley cat. We just an alley cat waiting on, the garbage man to walk away so we can get whatever he left, whatever he dropped out of the bag, whatever is left, I'm gonna go get. And what shocked me even more, when I smiled, I looked across the morning huddle we have. We all, huddle in a circle. And there was a guy that was excited. I think I even heard him say yes. And I looked, And I looked at everybody else and they just had these stale faces because it was morning. But I get up early in the morning, so I wasn't half sleep. I was just getting into the groove, so I was a little bit maybe a little bit more um awake than everybody else. Alert, that's what I was looking for. I'm sorry. A little bit more alert. And this guy saying yes, I just was like, is this dude serious? And I looked at the store manager that said that. I'm like, is he serious? He said that we can have the rest of the food after they put their little mangy, scraggly hands all in the food and did what, who knows what with this food. And the food is always uncovered. You're never going to go into the training room or the break room when they have an event and see food covered back up after people then grabbed everything out of it. I thought that was crazy. So that happened, way before this incident I'm talking about. Now, let's get back to the incident. So they say go on the other side and don't be seen. So while we were working, I looked at everybody and I said, "You see, they said stay over here. After we did all that hard work, we didn't get acknowledged, and it just it made me think like all of the other times I've been screwed over. But at least I was on the clock. I got my work in that I was supposed to do. That they wanted us to do, and it was in between the hours I was supposed to work. So, I was very much floored by what they said. But at the end of the day, that always proved to me this is why I say no when you want me to stay after. And there's nothing wrong with saying no, but you got to know when to say no. So I hope a lot of people made it this far into the video because you have to know when to say no. You don't want to say no with everything, but you got to know when to say no. When is your dignity on the line? When is something that you know that you can fight back with later on if they try to use that against you? If that's on the line and you know that, sometimes you have to bite the bullet, then you do that. But anything after it's time for you to go, that's just a plus for them, for you staying. That is not something that is mandatory. And when you have other priorities in your life, then it's a no go. It's a no go for me. So you got to know when you're being used and you got to know when to use them. Now, if you're getting something out of it, we know you're not going to get those hours because whatever, let's say they want you to stay longer, we already know they're going to cut those hours later on during the week. And what's a couple more minutes going to do to your check? It's not it's not going to do anything but give you another, lunch money to get something to eat during your lunch break. But you have to know when to say no. I don't want to encourage people to just say no to everything. You're going to get fired. You don't want that, but you got to know when to say no because you got to know how to pinpoint when they're using you. And a lot of times they are using you. But I just want you guys to know that when you say no, choose it the right way. Don't let them manipulate you. Go to your handbook. I'm pretty sure if there's not a physical handbook, you can go online and see what you can do if you're in a situation where you feel like you're being pressured to stay at work or pressured to do something you're not supposed to do at work or pressured to be the fall guy for something that you never even did. But because your manager or someone needs you to be the fall guy, you can get fired. I've seen plenty of people that were fall guys and they didn't know how to stand up for themselves, so they got let go. So Know when to say no, but definitely, you know the art of saying no, and staying firm. And there's nothing wrong with having friends and joking around at work, but it's a time to be serious too when these people want to take advantage of you because you're the cool, nice guy that likes to make people laugh. So I hope that this was some type of information that can help you with that. And we'll see you in the next one.